Hello, I'm Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz, November 7, 2016, 1:27 a.m. Topic, your last breath. Think about that. Let's go on. I listened to a good little story blog on Trey Smith. And guys, if you don't know this man, you need to get to know his blogs because they're good. He's got that one out with Donald Trump, and he's not the fireman, no. He's the one that has put another one together, and entities, you always see that on the screen. And but he's got one, ENOCHS, Prophecies of End Times, and it's talking about ISIS. Well, I'll tell you what it says right here, and I'll put it down in the thing. ISIS, entities, spirits, World War III, prophecies. That's what it's got. And so with all that, he's got many of these, and they are very well put together, very good. And you have to see the one on Trump if you look at it by tomorrow night. Point here is just in part Donald Trump, but in part your last breath. Look, we're in trouble. And I don't mean by Donald Trump. I still believe he will be our president, hands down. But, guys, this is only a minor delay on God's timetable. God has something for him to do. We don't know what it is. Donald Trump doesn't know what it is. Only God knows. And when that has been accomplished, there may be a bit of time to go by, and then we will be called home. Or once it's accomplished, then it may call us home immediately. We don't know. I would think that Donald Trump, being elected, that he would have at least a term and into a second before of a rapture of the church. But again, no one knows. I don't know. But what I want to talk about is we're going to come into some really bad times. If he wins, Satan and his team is part Hillary Clinton and this Huma that has given 500,000 emails to the Saudis, and they spread them throughout whoever they want to have them, but yet she's not considered to be a threat. Just like today, they came out with Clinton. And once again, Comey said, I don't see anything here. They waved it off. So something bad is going to happen. Whoever wins the election, whoever, Trump wins, they're going to go ape crap and start problems all over the place. If Hillary wins, then there's going to be groups of people that'll do the same thing. Because we know that it is a stolen victory, not an earned victory, if she gets in. Everybody knows that. Look at, my gosh, if you can't see what's going on, you're blind, and you're certainly not on the side of Christianity. You're on the other side, on some other Christianity. But it's not Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, period. You got somebody else or many other ways that can do it beside him, just like the Pope is saying, just like the guys down in Utah, the Mormons, just like they say. Look, there's only one way, period. One way. His name is Jesus. There's no other. And read all you want. Read 1,000 Bibles, 1,000 times a piece. And there's one word, Jesus, period. John 3:16. No other. Okay, let me get on. What would you be saying if you had one breath left and it was offered to you? And then said, and you're going to die. You got a quarter of a second. And the second starts when you get a quarter of it. When we say go, then you're dead after a quarter of a second. So what would you say with that quarter of a second? Well, let's think about this. In the Bible, it is mentioned that I know of only once about someone on the other side in hell calling to this side to Abraham to send Lazarus. This is the rich man that called Abraham, that had Lazarus with him. He said, please, Abraham, get Lazarus to dip his finger in water and bring it to me in just a drop of my tongue. Abraham says to the rich man, the gulf is too great between you and I. It cannot be crossed. Some people say it cannot be breached. Some people say it's too wide, or some people it's too deep. But in any case, we can't get to you ever. And no one knows what that gulf is, but it's uncrossable, unbreachable. You can't go around it, you can't go over it, you can't go under it. You just can't go beyond it, period. So the rich man then said, well, at least go and tell my brothers, do not come to this place. Please do that. This man was in torment, but he is not yet in hell. Hell comes after the great white throne judgment. But until then, he is in a place of punishment. And he is being punished. Otherwise, he wouldn't have cried out to Abraham. He wouldn't have said, just send a drop of water. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to skip right out of this just for a moment. The helix, the DNA strand, you know how it looks, and you have these thousands of scientists trying to figure out what makes it work. They can take tiny pieces of it and then take tiny pieces of a monkey or something else and tie it together. And all of a sudden, they think they're God. And the thousands that took God's creation and try to dice it up and then take a bit of it and add something, another DNA that God also created, and dice it up and try to put two pieces together that won't, in other words, if you take someone else's kidney, it may be rejected. So when this DNA rejects the other, well, they keep trying until something does work. And then these scientists stand back high and mighty. All of a sudden, they're God-like. That's what they feel. Most of them are probably not saved. If they were, they would not be doing this. And the ones who are saved and who are doing this, I say that the crowns that they receive in life won't be many. Probably just enough to carry in one hand. But the day will come when you can look down and you can hear the cries of the hundreds of millions, if not billions, in hell, that if you asked every single one in hell, if you had one last breath and you were alive, what would you say? Keep in mind, you're given an opportunity. Somebody tells you up front, and there's no escape, no way out. You are faced with that. And you are an atheist. In fact, you may be the one that helped that woman that helped take it pray out of schools. And you may be the one that helped start the abortion, Roe versus Wade. You may be any of that group. And you might be alive. I don't know. I know the lady's not, the atheist's not. But in any case, what if someone come up to you and said, look, Joe Blow, we have to tell you, we got some bad news. You're going to die, but we're going to give you a half of a second or a quarter of a second. When you start speaking, you better do it quick, because inside of a half a second, you're going to die. All these that are in hell burning, that are waiting for final judgment, which is going to be far worse than hell, or far worse than where they are. What do you think their last word would be if they were brought out and said, we're going to give you a quarter of a second? You got 1/4 of a second before you are gone back in the pits of hell. What are you going to do? Everybody, everyone, the hundreds of millions, if not billions, that are there will all say one word. And they will say Jesus. And they will say it so fast that they'll say it inside that quarter of a second. Think about that. When Trump is elected, you're going to see the evil come out of the woodwork. You're going to see other people show you a grand disclosure. You're going to see evil things you never thought you would ever see, but they're coming, people. But they cannot save you. They cannot hurt you. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Period. God said it. I didn't. God said it. Yeshua said it. He said, don't fear those that can hurt the body. The heck with them. Fear the one that can hurt the body and destroy the soul. Many people have died because of horrendous things such as abortion. 60 million in America alone. Don't you think those children feel that pain, especially the late term? They damn well do. But if they had 1/4 of a second, and if you have 1/4 of a second, what will you say? What would you do with it? Jody Wolf Expoz.